just talk us a little bit through this Chisora Szpilka fight, how it was made, what you were thinking about it. Obviously, Gashi last time out, we were looking for a bit more. What are we expecting this time on Saturday?
Well, I'm expecting a lot more. I'm expecting a lot more intensity, against Seina Gashi. Gashi, he didn't come to fight. He came to hear the final bell. He came to survive. And that isn't a good way to get the best out of somebody. You can't go to war with a country who isn't wanting to engage in battle. And you've got one person running, one guy's chasing. No war happens, it's just one guy chasing another guy, and that's what the Seina Gashi fight unfortunately materialised into. This time round we got Artur Szpilka, who's a noted puncher, a noted good amateur, good seasoned campaigner who'd been there and done things at the highest level. He's been in the ring with guys like Deontay Wilder, and he didn't run from Wilder. He didn't, he wasn't overruled by the occasion. He won some of those early rounds until Deontay Wilder exploded one of the most devastating right hands, clean on his chin I've ever seen, and put him to sleep. But he would have put a rhino to sleep that night with that right hand. But for me, Szpilka's in shape. Szpilka's ready. Derek knows him. When the fight was presented, there was no question marks. Eddie said, listen, there's a big opportunity at the end of the year with Joseph Parker, but we need a big win first. We need a win, which is understandable. We could have put on a better performance against Seina Gashi, but Gashi didn't want to engage. This time round, he's got an opponent who he can go to war with. And the training he's been doing with Dave Caldwell up in Sheffield, it's clearly showed. The strength and conditioning team have really whipped him up into fantastic shape. Ruben Tabares, Peter Marciano, all the boys down at London Shoot Fighters have really sort of come together and really got him in very, very good physical condition. The technical side's been taken over by Dave Caldwell, and Dave Caldwell knows what he's doing. Dave Caldwell guided Tony Bellew to a world title against a southpaw. So for me, this is a fight that Derek has to win. He has to win it good. It's a tough fight though. It's a very, very tough fight. A lot of people haven't heard of the name, so maybe expect someone just to turn up just to pick up a paycheck. But this guy is Artur Szpilka. He's a real threat, and Derek needs to be at his very best. If a subpar performance will not get the win. Will not get the win in any way, shape or form. The Derek Chisora who turned up against Seina Gashi a few months ago isn't good enough to beat Artur Szpilka. He knows that, and he's prepared. He's been putting himself through a hell of a training schedule, some good sparring partners, and he's ready. And I'm looking forward to his fight. It's not going to be easy. The early rounds may be very, very tough for him, but as long as he can keep grinding, as long as he can impose his superior will, his superior strength, and use all of that experience he's accumulated over the years, he should grind this guy down late doors and force a stoppage.
Derek said in the press conference just then that he can't box. Is he doing himself a disservice? As in, one of the things that you said.
No, Derek's style isn't about boxing. He's not a boxer. He's a fighter. He's someone who likes to close the range and swing punches, throw hooks. There's nothing that cultured about Derek's long-range boxing. He's not slipping and sliding. He's getting on your chest, he's working you, he's hitting your body, he's hitting you around the side of the head, he's hitting your elbows, hitting your gloves, hitting your shoulders, and that's what he needs to do. He just needs to bring the heat from the very, very first round. And his skill isn't long-range boxing. Artur Szpilka, he's a much better long-range boxer. So he doesn't want to have that long-range boxing match. He needs to get past the long range, get to close range, and turn it into a street fight, turn it into a real hard battle. Fans are going to be happy. Artur Szpilka, I'm sure, is going to want to keep it at arm's length and keep him at bay. But Derek's going to have to get inside that range. And getting in that range is the danger zone. You can walk onto shots, but Derek's going to need to get into range somehow. So using head movement, using body shots, using feints, using setups to get there, to then start chopping Szpilka down, particularly to the body, around the side of the head. He's got to impose his superior strength. And it's going to be a tough fight, but it's a fight that Derek needs to win to get these big fights in the future.
What's it like being punched by Derek Chisora?
He's a heavy-handed guy. He's a solid guy. He's heavy-handed. He's physically imposing. When I fought him, I knew that's going to be. So I had to get lost as tough sparring partners. I remember I had Carlos Takam, and I had to get very accustomed to the brute size of, an 18.5, 19 stone man just walking me down. I'm not a big guy, but I had to get comfortable, and it was very uncomfortable. It was very horrible. The sparring before I fought Derek was very tough, very grueling, and I'm not sure if this guy Artur Szpilka is going to be prepared for it, because it's hard to get sparring partners like Derek, who's as strong and fit and heavy-handed, and are just willing to keep swinging. It's hard to get that. You saw how uncomfortable it made Dylan White for the majority of their last fight, and Artur Szpilka is going to need to do something very, very special to be able to cope with that sheer mass of size. The velocity of Derek Chisora coming at you for 10 rounds is a hard night's work, is what it is.
You've been about 9 or 10 months in your relationship with Derek now. Can you just talk me through a little bit what it's like, your relationship with Derek? As in take me through just a little bit, so when you started with him to now, sort of a little bit of the changes, how it's got better maybe?
Yeah, Derek takes a little while for someone to trust your methods, for people to understand that, just because you've been doing something a certain way for so long doesn't mean that's how it's done. And you can't completely change someone straight away. It takes time, it takes experience, it takes going through the process. He understands about warm-ups, about how to taper your body off, how to eat, when to eat, what times to eat, how many massages do you have, what times to go to sleep. There's so many different little elements that I thought, okay, when I was boxing and I had my best success, I was going to bed at this time. Maybe you should try going to bed at waking up at this time. First time he's like, nah, this is how I always do it. But gradually, slow but surely, over time he's kind of got into the habit of, okay, as soon as you finish training, within an hour, let's have your food instead of leaving it 2-3 hours afterwards. What type of foods do you eat? Do you eat like chips, or do you eat sweet potatoes? Both carbs. One isn't ideal and one isn't ideal. So he's taking it on board. At first it was a bit like, I'm not sure. But over time, he's seen the benefits not only in his body, but in his performance, in his training, in his sparring. If you're training at a level that he has been training at, you need to get the right nutrients in. You need to get the right nutrition, and from nutrition to the boots to his getting his. It's just all round, just trying to get those little micro benefits. The marginal gains here and there that add up to a solid percentage come fight night.
So I've got two more. When you're walking into the O2, can you just describe what it's like from the dressing room to getting out into the inside bowl to basically getting to the ring? What is it like? What is the O2 like? As an
the O2 arena, you're in the change room. We'll be in change room 1. It's a change room I always used. Has nice bathrooms and showers, and it's just nice. Got nice mirrors. I like looking myself in. No, it's a nice, one of the best venues in the world, I believe. And you come out of the dressing room, you do it right. It's the closest dressing room to the arena. So you come out, you walk down the tunnel, you go out. It's a short walk. It should feel like a long walk, but if you've done the training, if you're confident in winning, it's a short walk, and you can't hear the crowd when you leave the change room. But as you get closer and closer, you start hearing the 20,000 people screaming, because they can see you on camera walking in. The camera filming you walk in, so they're cheering because they can see you coming, and you're walking down. And is an exchange between where you see the crowd, and when the crowd see you seeing them, and then they explode in a roar, and the rapturous applause really does get you feeling like this is what life's about. It's time to go to work. This is why I'm here. This is what it's all about. And you walk out, and you can see the lights. You can see everyone standing on their feet, thinking, it's just time to go to war. And Derek's fortunate enough where he's got a few more of those nights in him. This one on Saturday night is going to be a tough one. He knows it. No one's under any illusions that this is going to be like an easy win. He's going to need to be fighting at his very best. There have been many versions of Derek Chisora over the years, and very few of them have been good enough to beat what Artur Szpilka is going to bring on Saturday night. And he's aware of that. He knows that. You know, he's not at the stage of his career now where he's going to be getting gimmies constantly before a big fight. You know, he needs to earn these big fights, and he's going to really need to earn it, because if he can beat Artur Szpilka, he definitely deserves that big fight next, because this is a fight who very few people would voluntarily challenge. So a southpaw, someone who's long range boxing's fantastic, who's got a decent chin, who can bring the heat. So for me, it's going to be a rocky ride, tough ride, but Derek's going to grind him down and get that much deserved victory.
Just one last one. Just set up. I'm undecided to buy it on box office. I'm undecided to get a ticket. Why should I watch it?
Hey, listen, it's not. You know, Derek Chisora in this fight against Szpilka is a great fight. You know, you've got Dave Allen and David Price. You know, this is a 50-50 fight. There's two big heavyweights who really put it on the line. And for me, the main event, you know, Oscar Rivas challenging Dylan White. You know, that for me is a hell of a heavyweight brawl. You know, both fighters are all action. Both fighters are in great shape. Both fighters have it all to fight for. The next fight is for potentially the World Championship. So these guys, you're going to see intensity, and the whole card from top to bottom is packed. So if there's ever a pay-per-view card to tune into, you know, this is definitely the one.